I want to welcome you to the Global Women's Summit here in Woodland Hills. Next, we have the pleasure of finally hearing about neurofeedback. Now, Carmen said, I could use a half an hour, but I only really need about 10 minutes because what I want to show ladies is give them a taste of this and then have them come back with my computers and I can really show them a little bit more about it, what it's about one-on-one. Beautiful for pain, weight, stress, immune system. Carmen's going to tell you more. Please welcome Carmen Wylie.
It's Carmen Wylie and I'm a neurofeedback therapist, and I know a lot of you are saying, neuro what? What is that? Well, neurofeedback is also known as EEG biofeedback. It is actually a neuroscience, and it's a form of therapy that actually trains the brain for better function. But before I actually get into that, I want to tell you how I ended up in this profession. My husband, who is a bright trial attorney, suffered a stroke that left him with permanent brain damage. And I have to tell you, from one day to the next, he went from being this incredibly bright, successful man to someone who couldn't remember his name and couldn't function at all. And after 2 years of traditional therapy, the neurologist said to me, well, you know what, Carmen, this is about as good as it's going to get. He could not be left home alone. He couldn't remember my name. It was just awful. And I could not accept that. So I started to research neurofeedback. And I started to research what was available out there. I was willing to try anything at that point. And I have to tell you that after 10 sessions, amazingly enough, his short-term memory returned. His speech impediment that he was experiencing went away. After 20 sessions, so this is sometime later, his paralysis, he had paralysis on one side of his body, went away. And I was just blown away. I started going myself to therapy for sleep disorders. I had a chronic sleep disorder for 20 years. And guess what? It improved. I had amazing results. So I went back to the neurologist and I said, look at Tom, why didn't you tell me about neurofeedback? And he said, well, I knew about neurofeedback and I knew that it existed, but I didn't know how well it worked. And I thought, well, should you have done some research yourself? Because it really would have saved us 2 beautiful years, because he became fully functional. He couldn't go back to work as an attorney because while he was fully functional, he didn't have the brain to the point that you needed to work as a lawyer. But I have to tell you that if I had just left him where he was, I mean, it's just a shame that people do not know that there are therapies out there that are 100% natural with no side effects that can actually change your body, the way it functions, the way you perform. The doctors are not always keeping themselves informed. Well, I made up my mind that I was going to share this with the world. I couldn't believe it. I was just incredibly impressed. And I decided I wanted to do this, but I needed to go back to college. So I went back to college with my sons. Some of you may remember me when I was selling insurance. I sold insurance while I was going to school. Here I was, 48 years old and going back to college. But I needed to get the right science degrees in order to be trained and certified in neurofeedback therapy. And then I opened up a little practice, and I introduced myself to the Biggest Loser Resort. They were opening up 2.5 years ago in Malibu, and I said, I think neurofeedback would be great for your guests. I don't know if a lot of you are familiar with the Biggest Loser reality show. How many of you are familiar with it? Okay. It's got 14 million viewers. And we address issues with neurofeedback with specific equipment that you can kind of see back there, and I'll show you if you guys go back there later, I can show you how it works. We can actually retrain the brain to address issues that are cognitive in nature, emotional in nature, physiological in nature, and behavioral in nature. Isn't that wonderful? Because once we address the entire central nervous system, the entire body changes, and some of the changes after so many sessions can become permanent. Some of the issues that I often address there is chronic sleep. I had a client that came to me and said, my goodness, Carmen, I don't think I could make it through the program. I have a chronic sleep disorder. I haven't slept in 11 years without medication, and even with medication, I couldn't sleep. And I don't think I could make it through this program. Well, we started her neurofeedback, and after one day, she was able to sleep 5 hours. She actually texted me. She was so excited. She texted me, I slept. After her second session, she was able to sleep through the night, and she had 3 full weeks of sleep. She was there for 3 weeks, and she wrote an amazing testimonial to neurofeedback that she submitted to the company because for 3 weeks she slept without any medication. And we were also addressing some other issues because we can address 10 symptoms at a time with neurofeedback. So as we were working on her sleep disorders, we were also working on her appetite regulation and sugar cravings and everything else. So the type of situations that I come across often are attention deficit disorders, issues with weight as far as sugar cravings, addictions. A lot of the addictions, alcohol, drugs are very, very common as far as my clients are concerned. I do treat children in my private practice that have ADD. How many of you have ever read a book called The 20-Hour Solution? It's a wonderful book that is about neurofeedback and the benefits of neurofeedback. With just 20 hours, pretty much, can get rid of ADD. It's incredible. So that is what I do. I help people get better with the use of equipment by retraining their brain for better function. And all of us have an issue or two that may need addressing. Different parts of the brain can be addressed. Some issues, like autism, for example, neurofeedback can be very effective for autism. Obviously, you can't get rid of the problem, but the children benefit greatly with neurofeedback. Like I said, all of us have an issue or two that needs addressing, and this is a form of therapy that you all should really, really look into. And I believe that it's going to grow and more in popularity. Insurance companies are now reimbursing you for neurofeedback, which is so exciting. I'd be more than glad to show you how it works and how we go about it. I have the latest technology available anywhere. Different sensors are placed on the scalp, depending on the issues that we're addressing on different parts of the scalp. And then the client relaxes on a recliner and watches either a video game, and now you can actually watch a film. I have about 50 films. They can watch a film as the body begins to start the self-regulation process. So it's really easy. There's no side effects and non-invasive at all. And you would be amazed at the changes that can occur. Really great to be able to get neurofeedback out and really share it with the world. That was my goal in the first place.
Carmen is an incredible affiliate. We refer to each other, connect with her, and you'll really enjoy a beautiful relationship. It's such an interesting field. I could listen to you talk for hours.
Latest technology available in